Okay guys, so today we have some more evidence for DLC 5 for Black Ops 3 Zombies, and really specifically within this video, I'm going to go through a bit more on the logistics of DLC 5 and what we're actually going to be seeing. I think the last video was really giving you guys the evidence, or my video yesterday, giving you guys the evidence of the voice actor of Richtofen in Brazil, recording new quotes for Richtofen. Obviously, the new quotes would be for a new DLC map. Now, we actually have more evidence of this today, and it actually turns out, he's done this before. There's been other things, and it's also based off of common knowledge. And I don't know if you guys missed this, but at the end of my video yesterday, I basically said, usually, and this is common knowledge, like I said, usually when people are recording quotes, I remember there was a leak right before Gorod Krovi came out, like a month before Gorod Krovi came out, there was a leak that they just finished the audio quotes for Gorod Krovi and that it would be releasing very soon. And usually the audio quotes are the end of the map development. And obviously, look what we saw. Gorod Krovi came out a month after that leak came out last year. So same thing with this. We have these voice actors recording quotes. They're leaking it to us on Instagram. They're getting in trouble by Activision, but obviously they don't understand that they're leaking this new Zombies map. They don't understand that we're smart enough to see this and think, okay, this has happened with all other map hacks before. This has happened with Gorod Krovi with that leak. This has happened, again, like I said yesterday, with IW Zombies and Lee Ross when he says we're done with voice actors. And it's happening again. Now this time it's for DLC 5. So again, today we have a lot of really interesting evidence. I want to go through release dates, and maybe I'll also get to a bunch of other stuff with the 4 maps in which we will be seeing return to DLC 5. I think I'll go in depth on the storyline aspect of that in a different video and stuff, but right now it's really the release dates and the logistics of DLC 5, what we're actually going to be seeing. I think we're past the point of DLC 5 being real. I think honestly we're really getting to a point where DLC 5 is just a given. It's going to happen. Now we have to figure out when it's going to happen and why it's happening and more evidence to prove it, just in case you're not sold enough on this. But that being said, if you can leave a like, that would be greatly appreciated. If we can go for 500 likes, that would obviously be so cool. But we're just in an exciting time for Zombies right now. I just want to see you guys' support, and I really do think that this evidence in DLC 5, it's coming, man. It really is coming. So that being said, let's get started. Let's start off here just with the base facts. We know the image from yesterday with the voice actor of Richtofen in Brazil basically leaking to us that he was recording things for Richtofen. We know he's already a voice actor for Richtofen, but he was recording new quotes for his character, Richtofen, and he's actually done this before. The Zombies HQ, he went back, or he found this post somewhere or wherever, and he has the different Instagram posts. This guy has done this before. This voice actor has done this before, where a couple of weeks before DLC 1, a couple of weeks before DLC 2, this guy posted an image, and I'll leave just an example of one up on screen from December of him recording quotes, obviously for the Brazilian version of Richtofen for that game in that region. So he posted that in December. A month later or so, you have Derizendrach. He posted the thing in, let's say, what was it, March, and then a month later in April, you have Zetsuma no Shima or something. So it makes sense. This is the same thing with Infinite Warfare that we see right now. It's the same thing that we saw back with the leaks from Black Ops 3. So it's just giving us more confirmation that, obviously he's recording quotes for DLC maps. So the fact that he just posted this post yesterday or a few days ago means that within the next couple of weeks, I guess around a month or so at this point, we would see a new DLC pack, and obviously in this case DLC 5. So I want to go through release dates first, and then we'll go back to the loading screens and we'll talk about the specific maps in which we'll be seeing. Again, very interesting there. We have obviously new loading screens for the remaster maps. This one, Kino now, and we go back and we look at different stuff that they've leaked from different interviews as well, where all these like Brazilian voice actors and for different regions of Call of Duty apparently are just leaking everything to us. And I feel like they've been known to do that. A lot of the actors for games have been known to leak stuff. I know different actors for like the campaigns of Call of Duties, they used to leak stuff because they don't realize how important the leak is. They don't realize how important the information is. They just go record the voice of their character that they're playing, and then they just leave. Like, they're not Call of Duty fans, they're just voice actors, at least most of the time. So they don't understand what they're leaking, and they don't understand the implications of them leaking this stuff. They don't understand how smart we are and how we can connect the dots. That being said, we need to look at this and really think, wow, this is just mind-blowing evidence. We have to take this pretty highly because they don't understand what they're saying. They're saying stuff that obviously is true that they should not be saying, but like I said again, they don't know. That being said, let's look at the release dates first, and then let's go through the different things that they leaked as well that relate back to remaster maps coming to DLC 5. So the first thing here, basically, you can just do a straight loose interpretation, recording voices now, a month later or so. You know, it depends on when they send it to Sony for verification. They have to verify the DLC, they have to test it for bugs. It does take a bit. So we're at the middle to end of April at this point. We're probably going to see DLC 5 release, I would say skip May, so probably a bit over a month, around June time. People have been saying, I think Content Music HQ went through, and it was about 6 to 8 weeks in between when this Brazilian actor recorded the voices and then the map actually came out. So I would say around mid-June is a pretty solid bet, around a month and a half, maybe a bit closer to 2 months from now, to see a DLC 5 release date. E3 has been said to be, you know, or it is at like the 13th or the 13th through the 15th, I should say, of June. So again, I think with last year, we were so expecting E3 to be like this crazy reveal with all this new zombies info. It never happened, and maybe the Garai Krovi trailer. I remember we were waiting for the Garai Krovi trailer forever, and it just never came. We thought E3 would be there, just all this insane stuff. But I do think E3 now, if Activision, they want to really have a chance to show people what DLC 5 is all about, they would do it at E3. So if anything, we see a trailer at E3, the 13th or the 15th or 14th, whatever, with the E3 dates, and then the next weekend, we see the release date of DLC 5 the next Tuesday after that. So it would be around like the 3rd week of June. And I think that's a solid date right there. I think it's a great day for everyone. You know, school ends, but I think Treyarch, they're not worried about school because Revelations was released on my first day of school last year. So, you know, obviously they don't care about the school, but, you know, that being said, the 3rd week of June, that Tuesday, seems like a very solid date to see DLC 5 at this point. Obviously, if we get more solidified information, I'll bring that to you guys, but as of now, just based on him recording the voice, based on E3 being a prime time date for a trailer or a teaser or anything regarding DLC 5, I think that's a very safe bet. So that being said, let's go through some other stuff with the loading screen. So, well, at least it relates back to the loading screen. So basically, there was this other interview that these voice actors did. I think it was for Dempsey and some other character, like Richtofen and Dempsey or something. And they were doing different interviews and stuff. And they were talking about the voices they were recording, stuff like that. And it's like, okay, so obviously it's not just Richtofen recording voices, it's all the other Origins characters recording voices, which, if a DLC map is coming out, it makes sense that all 4 characters are recording voices. It's not just one character. So obviously that makes sense there, but it's just cool to see that it's just a bit more confirmation that, yes, new stuff is being recorded for this new map pack, which I think we can presume right now is DLC 5. But basically what they mentioned was something about gravity, space monkeys, and a theater of some sort. And obviously, those are pretty clearly related to the remastered loading screens for the maps that we saw. So, you know, Gravity would be with Moon. Keep in mind, again, we saw a Moon remastered loading screen back before Black Ops 3 was even released. Okay? Next thing is Space Monkeys. Space Monkeys, pretty relevant to Ascension, what was going on in Ascension. Also, we had an Ascension remastered loading screen that released back in January. Theater, okay? Theater, again, pretty obvious to Kino, and we just had a Kino remastered loading screen a few days ago. The only thing we're missing is the Mob of the Dead remastered loading screen, but maybe that was in the interview, who knows, maybe he just mentioned those 3 just because he wanted to. But I think what you can get from that is, again, he's leaking this stuff. Like I said before, I don't think he understands what he's saying and how important it is and how we can relate that back to these remastered maps, and also back to the fact that we saw the loading screens remastered for these maps. I don't think he understands that we're gonna point Gravity towards Moon, we're gonna point Space Monkeys towards Ascension, we're gonna point Theater towards Kino, and we already have the loading screens that were remastered to back that evidence up already. The loading screens are evidence enough, honestly, that they're remastering maps. But now that we have this Brazilian voice actor, doing an interview and mentioning these aspects that relate back to these remastered maps that we saw being released with, you know, the past couple of months in the comic books and all that cool stuff. It's a bit crazy, man. It's a bit crazy. And I think at that point there, that's as much confirmation as you need, honestly. If this voice actor, if something comes out, okay, and he flat out says one of the maps, if he flat out says Ascension, Mob of the Dead, or if the translation comes back to next DLC pack or DLC 5, and I feel like, I don't think we've had that direct wording from him, but I think all of the things we've said, new quotes being recorded, new hints being directed back at these remastered maps from the loading screens that we've seen, and just the remastered maps in general. I think with all of that in mind, DLC 5 is just basically confirmed at this point. It really is, and I think a lot of people, when you really look at this and think about it, there's no absolute way. I have to think. You think about it, just clearly think about it. There's no absolute way all of this evidence would come out and then it just turns out to be nothing. There's no way. I mean, sometimes we get evidence and it's like, oh, I don't know, this could be something different. This might not mean anything. But when you get evidence like this, and when you get all this evidence to back it up, other evidence, you get actual voice actors accidentally teasing this stuff, it just gets mind-blowing. It's like, well, how do you even refute that? How do you even refute that? The only good argument I've seen against this is that they're doing DLC, but it's not DLC 5. Maybe it's for like an extra Easter egg or extra downloadable content, but it's not new maps. That could be a good argument, but at this point, it's gotta be DLC 5. It just has to be. So seriously, let me know what you guys think. If you're leaving a comment below, or leave a comment below if you're watching at the end of this video. Leave a comment below DLC 5 so I can see the accounts that watched the whole video. Seriously, thank you guys so much. This is just getting like just crazy, man. I knew that there was a chance DLC 5 was possible, but I did not think we would get this much evidence for it. I really didn't think we would get this much evidence. So the fact that we're getting all of this is just crazy. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later.